Hello, my name is Kyle Rocco, and I am taking computer science software engineering, and this is my Arduino project. And the first thing we did is make a blink program to make a light blink over and over again. And this is my light blinking, and it keeps looping around and around, keeps blinking. And the code we used to set this up and run is we used a void setup. So this is like our initial pin 12 as an output. So we're setting pin 12 on our Arduino board here as an output to our LED, so it gives it power when we tell it to. And we use a void loop, so this will keep looping over and over again. And we set our pin 12, which is our light, to high, so it'll turn on. So I give it a higher voltage level, and then we set it to low right after that, and that will turn it off. So it'll keep blinking on and off, and we have to delay that, or else it'll go. So it won't register right because it goes so fast that it'll just be either on or just off. So we have delays in between there, so it would turn on, delay, and then turn off. Now our second uh, thing we ran and made on our Arduino is we added another light, and we wanted our lights to blink right after each other. So we wanted one on, one off. We wanted one on and then the other one on, so it go on, off, on, off. And I'll show that in the video here. And we did that with this code, and it is our original blink code, but we just added another pin for us to use. We used pin 11, and we plugged that into our other light, so it give power to our other light. And we have the same code from the last one. We just changed the delays a little bit, so it's different delay times of how much time it stays on, but it is fairly the same. And we just copied that code and added this code. So uh, uh, it will turn on this 12 and then turn off 12 and then turn on 11, turn off 11, and they will turn on and off uh, at different times. So it'll look like the video here. This will keep repeating around and around because it is in a loop. So it will constantly do this. The next thing we did on our board is we wanted a light to slowly fade on and fade off. And so I have to pull that code up from our Arduino. I'll be back in a second. So I opened up my fade code by going into Get Kraken and checking out my commit fade, and I went back to my Arduino and I went to File, Open, and I opened up my fade.ino, and that pulled up my code for this. And now this is my video of what we did for fade. It is a light slowly fading on to off and on to off. And we did that by setting our LED to 11, and then our brightness to 0, and our fade amount to 5. So our setup is our LED is our output, and it's declared to pin 11. And then we set our brightness up, and then our brightness equals brightness plus fade amount. So every time our brightness is called, it'll be our brightness plus the fade amount, so it could go up and fade up. So it go up to a big wattage amount and then back down. And if our brightness is less than or equal to 0, or if our brightness is greater than or equal to 225, then the fade amount will equal the fade amount. And then there'll be a delay. So it'll keep looping, and it'll be looping, like up here it says loop, and it will see the brightness, and then it'll keep adding the fade amount, so it keep getting greater uh, in brightness until it reaches 220, 255, and then it'll keep going back down until it reaches 0, and it'll keep going back and forth, and then it'll keep delaying 30 milliseconds. So the next thing we did is we also added a potentiometer, and we wanted to see how they work. So we made a code and everything to see how a potentiometer can go up and make things go up and down. So this is a video of me controlling the potentiometer, and when I control it, so if I open up the serial monitor and I twist my potentiometer, it will go up and down. So like you see in the video, when I twist my potentiometer, it will go up and down like this. So if I open up my video, it shows me twisting my potentiometer, and when I am doing that, it is going up and going down with because the code is showing a setup, and the serial begins at 9600. So every time there's a serial communication at 9600 bits per second, and then we have a loop, so it runs over and over again, and it will have the analog pin set at 0, so that is our analog pin telling it what our potentiometer to do, and it will send analog signal back and forth from our potentiometer to our board, and our print out the value read. So everything you read here is what the potentiometer is telling the analog signal through your board, and so it will delay a second for stability. Now, the last thing we learned is how to test the resistance of resistors, and we used a multimeter to do that. And this is a video of me testing the resistance of this resistor. And you see here I am clicking up to every little notch, and those notches are like the max it could read for that resistor, for the resistance of the resistor. So if it's like a 200 volt resistor, then you will only have to go to like 2000, and it will read to 200, and it will tell you. So every time I click up is telling how high of resistance it has. So I am testing the resistance of another resistor, and you put the negative and positive on each end, and that one's about 200, and that one is about 2000. So that is how you test resistance of a resistor, and those are all the projects we did with the Arduino boards. Thank you for listening.